What up, everybody? It's Tuesday night, and it is the Tuesday night Blitz with your boy Dame the NYDC and my partner, my co-host, my man Big A Sam Adams. What's happening, brother? How we doing today, Sam?
Well, it's always a glorious day, especially on these Tuesdays and everything. Trying to bred the storm that's happening out there. So anybody that's on the East Coast and it was traveling, through Tennessee and all that good jazz too. So I just hope that everyone is safe. Stay indoors. Don't go outside if you don't need to. All that good stuff. I ain't got to give a safety brief right now. I know what to
do. Right. Now, real talk.
Yeah.
Be safe out there, everybody. If you're traveling, I appreciate you traveling. If you're trying to double dip and watch or listen, I appreciate that. But please don't get to your final destination safely. But we here, crazy weather, kind of like the perfect ending, I guess, if you will, for a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight, Sam. Like, we had the Super Bowl. I mean, look, we got to start there because that was the highlight of the weekend.
Right.
And even before we get into the game, I want to go into that halftime performance. K Dot. And when you look back, and I well, not even when you look back, when you first saw it, I don't know if a lot of people caught the hidden gems, because I was calling it out as we were sitting watching the game, like, oh, you see that? So I don't know, did you catch any? But before we get to that, what was your overall take on K Dot and what he did this past weekend at the Super Bowl?
I felt like it was art. Like when it was all said and like the artistry from start to finish, between the narrative of Samuel L. Jackson, aka Uncle Sam. I thought I was the only one out there. Then leading up to the segues from one song to another. You know what I'm saying? Just how Kendrick knew not to. I shouldn't have pressed buttons, but I'm gonna press them anyway.
Press a button.
And speaking of pressing buttons with the PlayStation controller symbols on there, that was the other hidden gem right there. It didn't take. I had to do a second take because I was trying to look in the back with the signage or the verbiage that was going on. So you had the warning, you had to not like us. I think the most symbolic portion of it was the flag, though. Once all the colors got together and everything, and I was just like, ooh, what I'm saying? And you just felt like the story was being told of like, I look at it like you just can't erase history. And I feel like that's what's in the current picture and scheme of things. That's what's going on. And I just put it like this, like you can't, Black history is history either way it goes. So it shouldn't be written out of books. It shouldn't be taken away from doctrine. You even got the military involved, which makes me sick too. As far as like there, certain African-American units, as far as the triple nickel Tuskegee Airmen, and I could go on and on. Like these are points in military history. You can't talk about the Civil War without talking about the first Union African American cell that was built and helped fight. You can't talk about the Tuskegee Airmen. You can't talk about other names, Triple Nickel, Colin Powell. Like you can't erase that. So it's just history. So it should still be taught. It should still be doctrine. And that's the way that we should move on. So,
I agree.
And like I said, I enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of rah-rah, but at the end of the day, we're not going to please everyone when it comes to the performance. You know what I'm saying? And just looking at the history and rollback, everyone had something to say about Usher last year. You had something to say about Dre and Snoop the year before that. You had something to say about The Weeknd before that. At Rock Nation don't care. Jay-Z don't care. You know what I'm saying? Just as long as the deal is going on. And then, just look at how many views on like YouTube, the halftime show generated within like the first 15 hours of, you know, even being aired and put up there and everything. So, you know, to each his own. I know a lot of people was looking for that bounce and Lil Wayne and everything, and that could be a whole different conversation. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know it's not for everyone, but you got to deal with that every Super Bowl halftime show. It's not going to be for everybody. So, if you liked it, I tip my hat off to you. If you don't like it, I ain't going to, you know, hold no shade or, you know, be disrespectful. I mean, that's your opinion. So
it's your opinion.
It shouldn't be a pissing contest of like, it was great and here's why, or that's why Lil Wayne should have been out there. Like I said, I have some other, you know, hit points on that one, but you know, I like it. So
yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I think, like I said, the hidden gems that were in there, like you touched on a couple of them, you know, Uncle Sam, you know, Samuel being there, the warning that he was kind of given to Kendrick, you know, really, I kind of took it as, you know, pay attention or, you know, play the game that, you know, white America expects you to play, that type of thing.
Right.
The prison yard stage kind of, I had to go back and catch that one, but that kind of caught me, kind of reminder of the mass incarceration. You know, Serena, without question, you know, the disrespect and protecting our Black women, if you will, is kind of what I took from that and watching it. And I think the last two really stood out was the call to action, you know, about the world kind of being in a crisis. And even the Squid Game part too, like just how the haves and the have-nots are playing that game. And then just at the end, the simple part, like it was so faded, I guess, in the screen because I didn't catch it at first, but just the game over.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just to me was that statement from him and from a community about demanding change. And you know, ironically, all of this played out too, you know, in Black History Month. And like you eloquently said, you know, how you're trying to erase a history. And it's not, and I'm not going to get into the deep part of erasing a culture or a group of people, but just the history of things that people who actually have color in their skin actually contributed to.
Right.
You know, and we've done that from the mass incarceration to help build this country. We become a part of this country, you know, like yourself and others. You know, you fought for this country and for our freedom and different things. So to erase that, that's a hard pill to swallow. And I really don't agree with that. But I think it was a culmination of all of the things that we just talked about. And I thought, like you said, art, to me, it was more like magic. Like,
yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like the depth of the performance, the transition of it, the actual thought that was put into that to bring the performance and magic and the art to life was totally refreshing. I think K-Dot really did a great job. And I too, like you, I'm not sitting here going to say, hey, this was the best or whatever. But what I am going to ask is, if we had to just give a scale from A to F, you know, not judging his against anybody else's, just his on a solo level, and just everything what grade would you give his performance in his halftime show?
Like I said, I would give it an A. Like I said, I felt you know, and the views that are discussed right now, you know, is solely Sam Adams and nobody else's. But I give it, like I said, I felt like it was truly art to me from beginning to end. It told a story. It was elegant, poignant, and it was right there in your face. It was something that you couldn't run away from it. So like I appreciate it. Like I was just like, damn, he really did his thing right there. K-Dot lived up to what, you know, it wasn't your typical halftime, but like to me, it spoke volume. So it's going to resonate for a while. So I give it an A.
So I have to be honest with you too. I gave it an A also. And, you know, some of the things I just wrote down, you know, it was kind of like evident to me, like this wasn't going to be a watered down performance.
Right.
Just the fact that the revolution about to be televised, and just the commentary and the energy that he kind of came with, really said a lot. And then the symbolism, really, like you talk about the flag. One of the things that I was sitting talking with a friend of ours, shout out to my man, Mr. Well, he don't like to be named, but tall guy. A friend of ours,
I got you. I got you. Who should not be mentioned?
Yeah, him. Right.
I got you.
But we were talking. I was like, did you catch? So the flag was there, but did you catch the separation in the flag? And he was solely in the center, but there was no connection. So again, I was like, is that the division that we see here in America? And that, so like all of those things were so evident. The video game theme, Uncle Sam, I got to give him an A, just on the art of his halftime performance. The magical story that he told was incredible. And to be on that stage, to be able to share with the world, and look, nothing against Drake.
No,
bro, man, you and the dog, you got a lot of work to do, bro. And it's like one of those, like you were on top for so long, and in a matter of, even though it was months, it seemed like minutes.
Right.
And I'm not saying his career is destroyed, but right now, like you got a lot of work to do to get to that pinnacle of where you were. But we got to bow down to Kendrick and everything that he's doing, everything that he's contributing. For real. What up, G Ware? My brother from the Floor Is Yours podcast. Yeah, it was definitely brilliant work, to say the least. And he kind of moved the needle. And if we backtrack for a minute, there was that little exchange between him and Weezy. About Weezy not going to be at the game, and he got project working on.
Right.
And I know you probably didn't want to talk about, because you mentioned it early, but what's your take on that? Now that we can only talk in retrospect. We see what Kendrick came out and did.
Right.
So can we agree that was the right choice and the perfect choice for this Super Bowl? And no disrespect to Weezy.
No, I mean, somebody take it as some form of disrespect, and shame on them. But like, I don't think that. I mean, we talking about Lil Wayne. Like, he performed at the Essence Festival not too long ago, and he had the Hot Boys reunion and everything, and it was hot garbage, and it. It's like, when you think about it, and I want to say last summer he performed during WrestleMania too, and it was like all kind of ate up too, and I was just like, what's happening right now? Like, if and that could be one of the problems. Like, we're thinking about like the Carter 3,
right?
We're thinking about Rockstar Lil Wayne with Live Pop and everything. So there's a vibe. I think we're still holding on to that, but like, when you see it in real time now, it just doesn't gel, and I don't think that, unless he came out with some new creative artistry, maybe it would be different, but we're still holding on to the Lil Wayne that we know from the past. And like, I don't think that would have carried over to this type of stage.
Yeah, it doesn't resonate. And like G said, agreeing with a lot what's been said, Lil Wayne brings an element that, in all honesty, we should be trying to get rid of ourselves, if we're being honest, because I think we've moved past that era in time, right? We've kind of moved into a new era and a new point. I mean, I think we've seen it, but you see that throughout the course of if we're talking about rap, hip hop, whatever. I mean, it's been 50 years. We've gone through, not every genre, but we are conditionally changing because our times are changing.
Right.
And as great as Weezy is, because I don't want to diminish his greatness, but he may not resonate, and he may not be that artist that we should be leaning on to listen to in today's music. It may not resonate. Like I said, K Dot is bringing something that really not many artists, if any, are. right now at this point in the rap game. You know, on
Right.
on the male side, you know,
Right.
just the way he kills, he creates, and tells his stories. I mean, it's incredible. So I think I agree with G. Ware. We got to let the Lil Wayne thing go, because I mean I hear him crying. I don't want to say crying, but I've heard him. You know, I guess he's teasing the Carter 6 and all of that. And
Right.
I even had to pause for a minute, because I was like, even when you said like Carter 3, I was like, well, dang, when did we get this 6? I was still where you were, like, you know, you talk about Carter 3, 4. To me, that was when he was at his height.
Right. There was a peak and he
Right.
plateaued. And we talked about it before. Like, I feel like if there was, you had like the pregame celebration and everything. And like, I felt like if I'm gonna take advantage of it, like, let me make a whole weekend of it. I could have had a Hot Boys reunion. I could have had a No Limit reunion. We could have came over there and talked about like the New Orleans bounce and everything, and just cultivate it right there, you know, and it would have still been part of the NFL weekend and everything. And I think everyone would have sat there and been happy for the most part. But like, I do feel that hip hop in certain regions is actually having a renaissance too. And I think that it's starting with the West Coast, because you listen to Kendrick Lamar, you listen to Tyler, the Creator, you listen to Dolce, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's a missed vibe that we've been waiting on. And like, you know, those artists, like, we haven't heard music, especially from that's everything's been a carbon copy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either it's been a little diss, YMB diss, you know what I'm saying? And I think that transition is starting to die down. So I'm just hoping that it spreads, you know, across the whole, you know, industry when it comes to the hip hop platform. And like, you know, now different regions, as far as the East Coast, you know, down south, they start to get their voice back of what it used to be. And we're not just copying each other. Because then you think about it, like at the end of the day, like all the artists, they're and I get it. Everything is about like short clips and views and streams now. You know what I'm saying? Attention span is a little bit lower. You know, songs don't go for like 3 to 5 minutes anymore. You might get one track that lasts like a minute 20, and you just start getting into it. And I'm like, yo, where the hell did it go? So that's it. What's the rest of it? That used to be like a Redman interlude back in the day. like a minute and 10 a minute 10-second song. Like, what the hell is going on,
bro? That was
it. So like I said, I just hope that it grows. I'm hoping that labels would be like, okay, there's more out there. You know, I think it's like the quick scheme. To me, it's like playing video games and you're there for the game. However, now games got, you know, developers make their money off of the microtransactions that's going on right now. You know, so like the core of the game is gone, but hey, you could get Nicki Minaj and Fortnite and Call of Duty. Like, I'm not playing this joint just so I could have a emote of doggone Nicki Minaj half naked running with a gun. Like, I don't want that. I just want the game and the source of it. I feel like that's what it is about music too. I don't want to put on the airwaves and you have 3 songs in a row that sound the same. So I like the life that, you know, these artists, and I know that there's plenty more out there. So, you know, out there, if y'all have some other artists that we should be on, go ahead and drop it in the chat.
Drop it in the chat, for real.
I'm hoping that it just continues to grow. So I think for me, Kendrick Lamar is just the beginning of it. You know, Dolce is just the beginning of it. So I hope there's other artists that comes out, and it doesn't have to be a message. And, you know, and then when I say message, like I just want them to go back to the art of storytelling. You know,
that part. I think that's the part though you touched on, like that the West Coast is bringing. If I have to be honest, I think the West Coast right now is a little more passionate in their music, right? And when I say passionate, they're bringing the visual storytelling back. You know, and I don't know if it's because, you know, maybe it's a little more territorial there, and you know what I'm saying. Then versus like here, like growing up in New York, you have boroughs, but it's not necessarily territorial in the manner like the West Coast. but right now they're taking on that passion mantle in their music, which I think really shines through in what we're hearing, you know.
Yeah.
And hey, look, G-Ware, man, this is a sports and entertainment show, man, and exactly, it's peanut butter and jelly, and this is, man, kind of been the perfect marriage to kind of kick things off, man. And we try to do this, man. You know, everybody, come on, man, come on in, drop your comment, let us know, right? Yeah, we.
Hey, look, I don't know about no damn pickles and peppermints though.
Man, yeah, I'm saying I like that one, G. I might have to borrow that one. I don't know about it, but I might
taste
have to
these salty mints.
Might have to borrow it though, bro. For real though. But yeah, man, the passion is there, and I too, I'm like you. I'm following the trend. I think right now, the West Coast is definitely bringing it, and I like it. I enjoy it. At least now, like you said, when you come with these artists now, especially like Doechii and everything, they bringing it. Yeah, that's what we. Hey, I forgot you right. You down. I believe in Dallas, in the Dallas area. So you know, you gonna have to educate me on that, bro.
Well, you have to educate me too, as I'm a Texan as well, and I ain't eating no damn pickles and peppermint. So please let me know. I was a little further south than doggone Dallas.
We gonna have to make the plug and the connection. G-Ware he gonna join us, man. You know, we working on, you know, another concept. So G-Ware's been here. He'll be back. He'll be joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
That's an activating event. So let's
we haven't
hold on to that, G-Ware.
We ain't even get to the NBA segment yet. But
I know you see the back end.
We're gonna get to it.
Yeah, that's another emotional conversation.
We're gonna get to it. But while we're still in the sports segment, in the entertainment segment, which is being presented, you know, tonight by our friends over at 94 Media House. Really appreciate them. You know, we got a couple of movies coming out, you know, and one of them is this Captain America, right? You know, Brave New World. And I watched a couple of the clips, man, and they got some heavy hitters that's definitely, you know, appearing in the movie. You know, Harrison Ford and you know, Anthony Mackie is returning, and just interested.
Let's not forget Juan Carlos Despacito either.
Yeah, Carlos Esposito is returning. Yeah, he's back. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they got him coming back. But what's your take? I tried to get into. I mean, I'm a Marvel head. You know, I'm a comic book kid. I was kind of part of my upbringing.
Right.
But as we've moved and transitioned, if you will, from the original, I guess, if you will, you know, Marvel cinema to where we have now, I tried watching, you know, I'm hoping it's going to be good. And that's what I'm trying to get to, G, where, you know, I watched part of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't finish it. It seemed like it got a little slow for me. But now moving forward with Anthony Mackie getting his full-fledged first role as Captain America on the big screen, one, like G-Way, I am excited to see it, but are you excited to see it? Is that something, I'm not saying go to the movie theaters anymore and go see, but is that something that you plan on partaking in, Sam?
Well, I, sir, will be going to the movie theaters to watch it. Wink, wink. I did. We got tickets to go see it this Friday.
Okay.
I'm on the fence just because, like, I feel Marvel's in a weird space ever since Endgame. It's like, what happens now? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they just been when you look from the Endgame on down to like the first Captain America, everything kind of segued into the next thing, what led to the next thing, which was the big event between Infinity Wars and Endgame. Right. We know that there's Secret Wars, and I forgot the other one that's coming out. So we know that there's an arc that's waiting to be built. So I guess I'm curious to see if this alludes to it, like if this is the beginning, you know, or if they're going to continue the streak of like lackluster, doggone theatrical releases. So that what has me hesitant. But I already done put out a small business loan so we could go to the theater and check it out. So everybody, there's not an option in this household, but you know, I want to see it. I like some of the comments, especially with Harrison Ford, that he made in reference to like, this is Captain America. I like how Anthony Mackie is taking ownership when you see the clips, and you know he's making it, let it be known, I am not Steve Rogers. So let's see how we grow from here. So I'm curious, but like there's still that bit of hesitation just because of everything. I can't even, you try to roll back and think of the films that came out prior to, and like there's nothing. It was nothing that was impactful. You know what I'm saying? That we still,
the films haven't been good. Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
Even some of the last ones, I had to even think like, well, who the hell is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they've sub-arced and sub-charactered and moved on, and it makes it very difficult. And again, like I said, growing up a comic book fan, I had to kind of go back and like try to find some comics or whatever just to reassociate myself to where they're going, because you know you got the Sony version and you got this split, and it's so much going on that it makes it difficult. And because they, you know, have changed so much, it makes it difficult. And then the flops that you've seen, and then they take it to TV, they give you these portions on TV, made it very difficult. So as an MCU fan, and just the introduction of some of these characters now that I'm a little more familiar with, I am interested to see how this plays out, and I hope it kind of re-energizes, if I'm going to be honest with you, that side of the Marvel house in the cinematic universe, or some of the other projects that they have coming behind us. And I just hope they all tie in. I think that's the biggest part, to keep people engaged, have it all tie in.
I'm just glad that they slowed down. And I think that was one of the biggest issues too, is that like you have a movie, and then in between the movie, there was like 2 shows that came out, and then there was another movie. And like, I just felt like it was overkill. And then, like we said, you just had that piece that nothing really correlate with each other. So it's like, why should I even get invested in this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Moon Knight. I thought that was actually a really good series right there. But it didn't lead to anything else. And then next thing you know, they sit there and they shelve it. So like, are we going to see Moon Knight later on? I am excited for Daredevil Reborn again.
Thank God.
Just because they're going back to that grittier. I can't wait to see the Punisher, you know, back into that. I'm really interested in the Thunderbolts that's getting ready to come out this spring, as well as Fantastic Four, because in that one, that looks like a period piece too. And I think when you look at the two, I really feel like Fantastic Four is going to be the one that's actually going to springboard.
That's the hope. I think that's the hope.
Like, though, the arc,
really. Because they're really the centerpiece across the universes, if you will, or the arc lines, if you will. So I'm interested to see that as well. And G asks, you know, so quick question: Marvel or DC, and who's the alpha character in both brands?
Damn, that's tough.
It's a good one. I can tell you I'm a Marvel guy over there. Well, okay, lie.
I think there's variances, but I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, so I grew up. So I'm a DC kid. I'm a Green Lantern. I'm a Green Lantern fan, right? And they did his film dirty. His DC film was just straight trash. But as I grew and really got more into comics, Marvel had the better stories. They had the deeper stories, where DC always seemed to get stuck at that Batman, Superman level. And they never really, in my opinion, delved outside of that. You know, they tried to give you Wonder Woman, Aquaman, that whole Justice League thing, but even that was kind of faulty. They never really gave Cyborg his true dominance and prominence, like Flash, same thing. So they kind of always gets muddied with those 5 or 6 characters, and that kind of turned me off. Marvel has more depth. Now we're talking about, I guess, the alpha character, and again, I think this just depends on your flavor. I was definitely more of a Wolverine guy. The dude was just psycho. And who doesn't like a guy that can regenerate and come back and kill somebody? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, on that level, but if I had to be honest, because DC, I mean, Superman is kind of like God, in my opinion. He's kind of given the God symbolism And even when you watch him in Batman, it's like man against God. Like that conversation. How many times have we had that conversation in life, right? But God seems to always find a way to win. In Marvel, if I had to be honest, like the alpha character would probably be, in my opinion, be between Captain Marvel and Phoenix. And I'm talking about Dark Phoenix, like the Hell Unleashed Dark Phoenix.
We're talking about these Omega 10 level.
Yeah. So I would probably go in that direction if I had
to. I agree with you on the same platform. I feel like there's, we have the basic. There's a broader spectrum when it comes to Marvel characters. You know what I'm saying? And even the spinoffs were really good because you had the X-Men, then you had the X Factor, then you had the X-Force. But any of the X-Men could go on solo arcs, and I'm reading about Colossus, I'm reading about Cyclops, I'm reading about Wolverine and what he dealt with, reading about Storm. Then you look at DC, and like you said, it was only really the big two. It was either Batman, Superman. Let me sprinkle some doggone Wonder Woman in here.
Right.
Let me sprinkle some variants of Green Lantern.
Right.
Didn't nobody give a damn about Aquaman. But let's be clear. Like, I think the DC animated universe for a period was like preem, with like Flashpoint Paradox and everything that led up to that. Like, that was a really good arc. And then they just went to shit later on, which I didn't understand. But they were trying to. It was done on purpose to try to erase the DCEU animated version. When it comes to like alphas, like you said, Superman is just going to be that dude. Like, I've been Team Soup for like forever. Right. Yeah, I used to have an S tatted on me back in the day. I used to when Steel came out, even that horrible film with Shaquille O'Neal.
You never told me that one, bro.
Yeah, man. Like I came over there and I used to rock like the little Superman chain. You know what I'm saying? Had the Superman ring, everything. But when you look at Marvel, like I feel like the alpha guy is the Hulk. Like we haven't seen like Planet Hulk, like straight demon mode.
That's a really good point.
When like the more he fights, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. Like we've never been exposed to that. So he's one of my top tier Marvel characters right there.
I agree with that one. Well,
so don't sleep on him.
Don't sleep on him. No, I mean, and it's true. How can you really tell that story of that type of power that you really don't understand? Yeah. Right. Because like, I mean, technically he could probably obliterate everything. When he gets mad enough. So I mean, that's a good point. And I'm not mad at that. And G-Way, that great question, man. I appreciate that. And thank you for joining us tonight. Keeping it pushing. And what do you say? I hate that.
Well, you said they played Hulk, which they did in the movies. They really did play him. Like, he got, and I get it. I know of the Professor Hulk arc. However, like. He was due some get back that he didn't get when you look at the MCEU. MCU. Like they didn't give him his just deserves, and definitely didn't give it to him in She-Hulk either. It's like
it didn't. And, I mean, that was one of the big things I think that was missing in the Civil War, when they all of a sudden the Hulk disappears and Thor disappears, and it's like probably at the time of what the battle that would say the two strongest figures on either side decide not to have them show up, which I thought was a big disservice really to both of them, because I mean throughout that series in that arc line, at least in the movie version, we were kind of building up to that point, just the back and forth. So not to have it, yes, they played Hulk tremendously, and I mean it could have swayed a lot of different things, but here nor there. But we're gonna transition and we're gonna get into a little what else happened this weekend. We're gonna get into the Super Bowl. We watched it was a storyline obviously between the two. They matched up a couple years ago, and Kansas City got the better of them, but this weekend there was really no doubt. And I think it was kind of clear and evident. And I must say, like, it was the first drive, I think it was, and the refs threw the
pass interference
against AJ. Yeah. I'm screaming out at everybody that's around me. Oh, this game is fixed. Game is rigged.
Here we go. Here we go. Yep, it's about to happen. Damn it.
That's exactly. I did this. I was like, God, this is rigged. They ain't even wait a whole quarter.
Nope.
However, as we watch the game unfold, we watch Philly's dominance, and we talked about this last week. You know, building up to the Super Bowl. You know, in our breakdown, and you know, we really kind of hit it on point. We were both in agreement that a couple of things had to happen. And one I'm going to speak to, which I had talked about, because I'm going to leave the other side to you, which you spoke about so eloquently. But Jalen Hurts had to show up.
Right.
And he had to make plays. You know, he made them with his legs, you know, Sunday night. He made the passes that he needed to make, which I talked about and we talked about. He made those passes in those plays. Saquon, I mean, we can see that Kansas City showed up for Saquon,
right?
And we talked about that too. Saquon could not be the premise or the main focal point of the offense, and I'm glad to see that, you know, offensively they came in with a full book of plays and game plans, and they adjusted accordingly on the offensive side. And I'm gonna let you speak to the other side, because you were spot on when it came to the other side of the ball, you know, for Philly.
Oh, that defense?
And bruh.
Hey, look, I told you, Philly defense was all gas, no break. And I said that needed to happen. Patrick Mahomes got sacked for I think he got sacked 6 times.
Yeah, 6 or 8, something like that.
Hey, look, that last one in the third quarter, when Sweat came over there, I think he stripped the ball, and you had old dude out the blue. I thought I was watching WWE for a minute, because I was like, yeah. Hey, look, I had to pause for a minute because I was looking for flags, because I was like, I know they done murdered Patrick Mahomes and Bundle. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
like,
you know they called that on the field, like, throw a flag. Prize possession is down. We can't have it.
Yep. I was like, I hope his insurance premium is good to go, because like that was but they contained the run. They contained Worthy, because that was the other thing that I was talking about.
That's right.
DeJean, I didn't even know who homeboy was until they started talking about his birthday and everything. But he ended up getting that pickle, you know, and like it was just like lockdown, clamp, Pelican Bay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even now. Yeah, it got a little charitable towards the end, but we knew that was going to happen. Like once you got to like the you know, in the third quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, and just the ball containment too, like the time of possession, that was bonkers too. I want to say like Kansas City only had it for like 10, 12 minutes or something like that. No, I'm lying. 23 minutes versus 36 minutes on Philly side. So like, you know, when you look at it, like Philly played the perfect game. And it goes back to what we were saying during the season too, when we were talking about Kansas City games. Like Kansas City was just lucky. You know what I'm saying?
They got all the breaks.
Yeah, it was so many games that was like so questionable. And it's like, how are they 17-1 right now?
Yeah.
Like what led to that? And you saw it, we could say the refs, but you can also see that there was some plays that when Patrick Mahomes broke free and there was like no rush, no pursuit of the quarterback. And you had like maybe like 2 to 3 dudes that could have just sat there and murked them or something like that. And they just like let up. So I'm like, when is somebody going to sit here and play seriously? When is somebody going to sit here and just put doggone Kansas City in the ground? So and it just so happened Philly was that team to do it. So shout out to them. Like there's nothing. I was looking at Saquon, and like as I was watching the game, I was like, does he need a cleat change or something like that? Because like when he was out in the wing, you know, when they spread him out, he was all right. But like when he came over there and was in the backfield, like it just seemed off a little bit. Like he couldn't get like that first step, you know, and that power step and everything. So I was questioning that. Like maybe they need to just sit there and change his cleats. Like it was just odd to me. I don't know if anyone else noticed that.
No, I mean, there was a couple of times where, again, so he runs so hard and so low to the ground a lot of times. And I'm just saying this as a Giants fan, I had the pleasure of watching him for so long. Like, you get frustrated because he wants to hit the hole and accelerate, but he runs so hard and so low. He runs himself into the ground.
Right.
But watching the game Sunday night, like, it seemed like it was a very slick field. Some people want to call it fast. And that was the same thing. I was like, maybe Saquon needs to change his cleats or something. But again, though, I was happy that he was a distraction. And when I say distraction, Kansas City came in with a game plan that they were going to let him run, but it kind of falls back into everything that we already talked about. Like, shout out to Hurts for making the plays. Shout out to him for understanding, because I mean, we were even yelling at the TV like, bro, there's no play there. You got to run. So as the game went on, he went back to his natural instinct. One look, two look, nothing there. He just takes off. And that really, to me, was part of what broke the back of Kansas City, because now that's an extra runner that you're not prepared for. You got to fill a gap. You got to have somebody step up now. And then, the pass over the top. And I said it, last week, like Dotson had to show up. He showed up that one time. He made the play. The other guys, Devonta, man, that beautiful deep pass. Like, these guys, when they were called on, they showed up, they made the plays, and that was the difference. So, I'm glad now we can put to bed this three-peat with Kansas City over it. We can look forward to next season. And as we kind of look forward to next season, what do you see? I'm looking at some of the early odds. Philly was over and beyond. Yeah. Figured that would be a blowout. Casey struggled throughout the year. Yeah. Hats off, another Super Bowl appearance. Yeah. Philly was on a mission. I think
they were.
And we've talked about it, throughout, we've been doing this since September, give or take, really preseason, kind of looking at the teams. And I know for me, Philly was definitely one of the teams. I know we talked about it, coming out of the Killer North where your Packers are, Sam. You guys had your division was deep. But I think we agreed early on that really looking at the NFC, there were really two teams that kind of stood kind of above everybody else. That was Detroit and Philly. And look, the Commanders had a hell of a season. Shout out to Jaden Daniels and the work that they're doing. A team to be paying attention to for next season. But when we look at next season, Sam, like, do we still put Philly, or do we respect Philly enough to give them the fact that they are the dominant team in the NFC and they should remain so until somebody knocks them off? Or are we looking at, somebody coming out of your NFC North or somewhere else?
Nah, to be the man, you got to beat the man, I still have Philly up top. Can Detroit rebound? Because, we were talking about it ever since like preseason. They lost like a player per game.
Right.
So how do we get healthy? And I also put Philly up there too. Let me rewind back, because like they still got like a lot of draft picks and everything too. You know what I'm saying? They could still sit here and meddle with the free agency as well too. So they've been smart with their money too. So they could sit here and grow from what they already have. I brought up the Packers a couple of weeks ago. Like, they actually got some free agency money that, like I said, the shackles of Aaron has been lifted from them. Josh Jacobs is serious about getting people over to Green Bay, so hopefully they can turn that back around.
He out there recruiting.
How can it's AJ McCarron's Vikings? So what are they going to do now? And then we were talking about the West Coast too, in reference to like San Fran wasn't healthy. How does Seattle come back? We saw like what the Rams could be capable of, towards the tail end of the season. And then you got to think about the South. Like, I think Baker has a staple down there in Tampa Bay. Can they sit there and grow too? Kellen Moore is leaving Philly, getting ready to go to the Saints. So how's that going to factor in? Or are there going to be players that sit there and gravitate towards him just because of his, offensive play calling right there?
Yeah.
You know, and if Dallas was smart, I'm not, you know, I know we don't like to talk about them that much, but if Dallas was smart, if Jerry Jones was smart, Jerry Jones should have been trying to get his boy. He shouldn't have been in a hurry. Should have tried to sit there and get Kellen Moore back to Dallas. And I think that that would have set more of a spark than whoever they picked. But Schottenheimer,
Schottenheimer's son or whatever.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I think that was a bonehead move in Dallas. They could have did a lot of things differently and better. I think that would have been a better hire. And like you said, you know, I'm with G-Wade. Like Detroit's probably got some troubles. I mean, look, Aaron Glenn is going back to the Jets now as the head coach. So there's been a lot of shifts and changes throughout the league. But I still leave it at Detroit and the AFC side. Yeah. You know, and we talked about it before. Is this now the time that we can finally say Baltimore or Buffalo or Joe Cool in Cincinnati is going to be, you know, breaking through the door now? Because Kansas City look old, they look slow. Right. Their exterior line, not the interior, but the ends are horrible. Right. So is this now the time, you know, that we look at a Buffalo or Baltimore to finally break through and make a way?
I mean, if you want to kick it dog wise now, you might as well. So I feel like the teams that you brought up should take advantage of it. You know, I agree with you. Like, I don't think that. Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes said it best. Like, you take a loss like this, and the way that they got beat. Like, let's be clear, that game was really like 40-0. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They turned it to the Salvation Army come the second half and let them get some points. But let's be honest about that one.
Right.
So you would hope that, you know, like Lamar and Lamar and Josh Allen, they're like, okay, it's go time. You know, Cincy, I'm kind of on the fence because like they still don't have an identity on defense yet. And the defense, like Joe Cool could sit here and throw to Jamar Chase and Higgins all day. You know what I'm saying? I forgot their tight end name. And Mixon. Like, he has like weapons on offense, but they really haven't done nothing to capitalize the defensive side. Yeah. And that's been plaguing them for like 2-3 years now. So until they get that situated, maybe Cincinnati is just not a marketable go-to destination for a player.
Yeah.
But until they fix that, then it's kind of hard for me to put them in that conversation. But I'm still curious about like how year 2 is going to look for Justin Herbert with
and in San Diego
with
the other brother, the other Harbaugh brother.
John, one of them.
Yeah.
I want to see how I want to see how that's going to pan out. How is Bo Nix? You know what I'm saying? And Peyton going to be up there in Denver.
30-year vet.
So we're talking about other locations, I think, that could be a threat to Kansas City. I think Kansas City is on notice right now. I really do.
I think this game really did put them on notice. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Let's just say next season. But again, shout out to Philly for a great run and a great way to end the season for them.
Good job getting your get back.
Yeah, it was a great job getting the get back. So now we're going to transition this, Sam. We're going to get into the NBA. We have some things I guess we could talk about. There was a lot that also happened last week and towards the end of the week, the chaotic trade deadline and kind of how everything went down and played out over the weekend. We had some crazy things, and G Ware had brought up, we'll start in Dallas. You two are a Dallas Mavs fan, and you finally get AD.
Yeah.
Comes out, man, and he balls out for 3 quarters.
He did.
I mean, them was the hardest 3 quarters, and I was like, boy, if and this is what we talked about, last week, coming, about the trades. If Dallas gets this AD, the best player who was on the Lakers, they get this guy in the version of what he was doing. Right. I really felt that really That really, but we're gonna get to the Knicks, Cliff. We're gonna get to him. We're gonna get to him, bro.
Hey,
yeah,
hang tight, Cliff. Hold on. Hang tight.
We out west.
Simmer down, son.
But if and if came because he folded like a lawn chair and put on the street clothes.
My God.
What does that do now? Because I mean, Lively was already out and hurt.
Yep.
And to have AD look like, okay, this is, man, they put these pieces together like this, they climbing up the ladder in the West. So now we kind of back to ground zero. So
not just AD, Gafford got hurt too.
Oh, that's right. I was so focused on that. So like just the walking wounded.
Hey, G-Word was right. It was an activated event over the past like 48 hours. All right. Because I came over there and I was like, when AD got hurt, I was just like, that was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like typical Mr. Glass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it pains me because I was talking to myself in my damn car because I was like, he did the same shit when he was in New Orleans. He did the same shit when he was a Laker, and now he's doing the same shit as a doggone Mav. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And then I saw that what's my boy name? Brandon Ingram left the Pelicans.
Yeah, they should have been up north.
Yep. And I was like, he's a Raptor now, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, we could have went for doggone Brandon Ingram because I know that he was exhausted with Big Back Zion. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah, and CJ McCollum, you know what I'm saying? I know CJ McCollum is just waiting too. It's gonna be my time soon too. But I was it's unfortunate because like the trade happened overnight. Everybody had their reservations to begin with the fact that doggone AD just can't stay healthy. And I'm just like, why would I go? And like I said, I understood for a minute because I was like, well, Derek Lively is hurt. So maybe they're looking for another big to come in and help him out, like a cushion right now until he gets healthy, and then they can move. Now I got like 3 bigs I could play with between the 4 and the 5. You know what I'm saying? But when he got hurt, I was just like I can't do it. And they're talking about like a couple of weeks now. No, they're talking about months. I don't think they're going to even revisit it until sometime in March, whether or not he's healthy. Right. And like the Mavs done moved down to like the 11th seed. So like there's a strong possibility that they're not making the play-in. You know what I'm saying? And the misfortunes was I said that the goddamn Lakers wasn't going to do anything. you know what I'm saying? And like I see what Cliff wrote. Hey, look. The difference between Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard is like Kawhi might not even show up. There could be nothing wrong with him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, Kawhi, you want to play today? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You sure you don't want to come out and play? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not an emotion having ass. I digress, though. But like, when he got it's just like typical AD, and I hate to say that, but like, and then I start reading into it more. Like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and not just like the beef between Luka and Dallas, whatever they had. Is more of the new owners of the Mavericks and what they're trying to bring to the state of Texas. That Texas is shutting down, and that's gambling. And that's the same thing that I was talking about before. There's such a stronghold with gambling in sports now that is really making me sick. So now we get to the point like you have a group of owners, allegedly, I don't want to get in no trouble or anything like that, but allegedly that's trying to tank the Mavericks because who's supposed to be getting the next NBA team? Right. Vegas. So now I can sit here and defunk doggone the Mavericks, and now we can sit here and move them to Vegas where they own like the M Resorts or something like that. So now they're getting what they want. So they kind of put in the Texas Senate or legislation in a stronghold right now. Like, if you don't want me to move one of your hot marketed teams, I need you to let us build this casino, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Right here in Funky Town or the DFW. So that's really what it's boiling down to. And it's, like I said, it's just disheartening because I already talked about it. We talked about how the points are, no defense being played. and just the marketability of gambling. Like now you have like all your professional networks sitting here with hey, go on ESPN, bet ESPN, or Fox Sports got their own betting app, and it's just like bonkers. And the audacity of you to sit here and have like the little air quotes of like, if you need any help with your gambling addiction, like call this number. Like, nah, Bama, like you got it right in my face.
Right. I gotta go gamble. I got to.
So like it's Dallas should have never got rid of. In closing, Dallas should have never got rid of Luka. They should have continued to keep building around Luka, which it seemed as if they were doing, like the 1-2 punch with Kyrie, Luka, PJ Washington, Derek Lively, Max Kleber. He was kind of like, I'm there if you need me. And then Gafford, like that was a strong squad.
That was strong. Yeah. Like I said, we talked about it just last week. Like not even 7-8 months ago, they were in the NBA or 10 months ago, whatever, in the NBA finals.
Right in the finals.
They can't be garbage.
Yeah, and I really had them like they were my team. I know that they were kind of in the middle, but like I said, it was just because of so many injuries. Luka spent a lot of time out. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie was a hit or miss at the first half of the season with injuries and everything. Derek Lively's injury was like a huge blow. You know what I'm saying? That was massive, and you could see it because just the presence that his defensive prowess, and then like he wasn't afraid to like get in the paint and bang on some folks every once in a while if he needed to. Yeah. He worked on his jumper, but like I don't need you for that jumper. I need you to take this ball and yoke it on somebody.
That's right.
Which he knew the assignment. Now everything is kind of like disjointed. I saw PJ Washington in plain clothes last night or the night before when they lost in overtime. And I was just like, it's like I said, as a Mavs fan, it's disheartening. Still go to ride with him. You know. Well, all right, so like he had a concussion in the playoffs last season. I don't know what the hell happened to his knee this season. I didn't see the play that took him out. But I mean, he's in year 2, and like apparently the injury that he got this season that was nasty. So like I can't base that. Like you look at how he was playing before he got injured in the playoffs. Like he showed up and showed out. Like this is the first season that you actually saw him like dinged up and everything. So it's for me, you know what I'm saying? It's and I mean like he's right because sometimes you can't bounce back from concussions and everything. And then like you look at knee injuries too, like is he going to be like not Melo? Who's the other one? Not LiAngelo. Who's the other Ball brother?
What's his name? Lonzo?
Yeah, Lonzo Ball. Are we going to have another scenario like that when you come back too early and get banged up and everything?
Yeah, so. I mean, even with that, right? Like injuries, concern. I mean, that comes with the game. But so this one right here. So like, they should have got a stronger small forward. I think ideally, when they made the move for AD, it made perfect sense to me. And again, we talked about it last week. AD.
You're not damn right, Cliff. I am steaming hot. I might need to go outside in the snow and cool off a little bit because I am heartbroken.
I think they were in a good spot, because that allowed them to play Gafford or Lively, at the 5, and it gave them PJ to move PJ to his natural position. With PJ is really just a big small forward. He's not a bank, you know what I'm saying? So you could interchange Lively with Gafford and AD at his normal position. Then you got Kyrie and Clay or whoever else you want to put in the backcourt with Kyrie. I think that really was the vision that they had. But now, I mean, they're the walking wounded, and this comes with sports. Now, to what magnitude? That's where I was going. I don't think
he was going to get hurt regardless, bro. That's not even no. Like me damn minute restriction.
I would have done that only because you were getting him off of injury from LA, right? He was. So I would have played him, but I think I might have gave him a minutes cap as well. Especially when he came out hard like that, though. I probably would have told us that come over here and sit down because they, not to say they didn't need him, but okay, we see, okay, you're playing yourself back, you're getting back in the shape, because we know he can fold at any time, and that's what he did. He folded, and it's unfortunate.
It was a fold waiting to happen. He could have, he could have been stretching and be like, oh damn, my abductor. You know what I'm saying? Like it was gonna happen.
It was gonna happen regardless. He could have been in the car, driving home. Yep. He could have hit the gas. I don't know. It could have been anything. You're right. Yep. I agree. I would have put him on restriction. But the flip side, and Clint brought up a good point. They were very disrespectful, in my opinion, to Luka. You know,
absolutely.
He's a transitional not only international superstar, but type of talent that really comes along once in a generation. But the Lakers got the better of the deal as we look at it, probably right now and probably into the future. And watching LeBron, because the Lakers and LeBron, they've been on the roll really, before the trade. Now they got Luka. The interaction that really could come behind this moving forward, I think looks good. But then they had the one piece I think that the Lakers are really building on was the Williams trade from Charlotte that ended up getting rescinded. Mm-hmm. And I think just looking at it, so yes, they're playing great right now. You got the break coming up, and then you come back. But the Lakers have no big man. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to hurt them as we move into the second half of the season. Don't wish no injury or nothing to happen, but there's no one in the middle for the Lakers right now. So how do we see that playing out, for the Lakers now moving into the second half?
I mean, I said it before. I take it back because I said that the Lakers wasn't even going to sit there and make it into the play-in.
We both agree.
I made that note. I think it's more of a shot now, but then who are you going to go up against? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to go up against OKC, who's just tall as hell everywhere? Are you going to go up against go get Dwight Howard?
That was in the news. That's been in the news.
Hey, look, he on waiting right now. Yeah. Are you going to go up against Denver, and the Joker? Are you going to go up against Houston? Yep. Are you going to play the Alien? Because I think that they're in the runnings for in that play-in type of field.
Now with Fox coming over, they in the play-in. They definitely in the bottom half.
Yeah. So it's like, how is LeBron's play rest ordeal going to go? Is he going to get injured again? Right. Is that going to be too much on Luka? You know what I'm saying, to sit here and carry the squad. So it's, I think they have a better chance of making it to the play-in and even like the playoffs versus what Dallas is. Nah, they ain't making it.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I think about time they get healthy, it's gonna be too late.
It might be too late. I agree.
Yeah, and at that period, you might as well just rest everyone. Houston. I think Houston is that sleeper because I mean they've went up against Boston. They went up against. It's been a nice battle between them and OKC. I enjoy watching those two teams play each other just because of how young and it's a fast-paced, energetic gauntlet of a game when you watch them two play.
Yeah, them young boys, man. They running in Houston and Udoka from Boston's boy. Yeah. I mean, the brother know how to coach. He know how to get them together, man. And that young talent is mad scary. And man, Cliff, you just took the words out of that boy Jalen Green, man. He's a problem. He's a real problem for anyone to face and have to go up against and try to slow him down and stop him. And then they have other players on the floor that's really picking up the pieces here in this second year, of his tenure. And man, they're gonna be fun to watch. And the Lakers, I think, I just fear that they're gonna be on the downslide. I think age catches up, and again, does it become a thing with players now? You're already watching LeBron. If you watch a lot of Lakers games, they're on all the time. A lot of times you're already watching LeBron. His teammates are watching him with the ball. So now you have another ball dominant guy. I don't think there's an issue with two ball dominant guys playing, but it's the other players.
You still got Kinnick, you still got Rivers. I mean, they still got players. I don't even know who the hell they are. I'm just going to keep it funky. I saw one rotation and I was looking. I was like, I don't recognize one lick of a person right here.
All I know is they resurrected my man Gabe from Miami. He's out there making things happen. And G-Way is saying if Dallas makes it into if they make it into the playoffs, they will have to be full strength. It's going to be trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And Max Christie is underrated catalyst in the trade. He is nice. He really is underrated. And you're right. I mean, if they get into the play-in tournament, again, though, I think they're dangerous if they get into the tournament. But right now it's about how far behind, because I mean, we can't sleep. San Antonio made a trade. Golden State made a trade. Sacramento made interchangeable parts these are veteran guys that can still have something left in the tank. So the fear really is when you look across the board for Dallas,
how far behind you go to get.
Right. And that to me is the biggest problem just to get into the play-in game. Because these other teams behind them have made these changes, and these guys are healthy right now. So I think that's what we have to really pay attention to, for them. So it's going to be interesting as we move forward. Now, this week, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the West in detail, Sam, and we're going to talk about the East this week. We had some clear-cut favorites, I think, in the East, and this will make Cliff happy, I know. I'll start it off because I got my clear-cut favorites in the East, and I think the Cavs and the Celtics and the Knicks are, and it's kind of hard to say because I watched the Celtics game, the Knicks Celtics game the other night, and they wiped us, man. They destroyed us the other night. Right. And it's true. Like when you look at it, G-Way, like there's only a few games between 10 and 6. I think even if you go further than that, especially in the West from 12, 12 or 13, I think it's only like a 4.5, 5 game difference where you can be out the play-in to, basically in 6th or 7th place. So that's a huge swing. And if Dallas is not careful, they're right out of it. Yes, sir. So, the Knicks, So it was hard to watch that game the other night. We were competitive for about 3.5 quarters. And then Boston did what champions do, and they ran us out the building. They ran us off the floor. And you're 100% right. I think Mitchell Robinson experience in New York is waiting to happen so that Cat can go back to his natural position. We can get some better floor spacing. And look, Dallas, this has been a crazy season because like Boston has not been as dominant as I thought they would be.
Right.
Cleveland is showing flashes again, but Sam and I, we talked about it last week or the week before, and I'm gonna say it every week until we get into it has to be a championship game because Cleveland, it's Cleveland. I mean, let's talk about Cleveland here. No, there's nothing happening in Cleveland. I love Donovan Mitchell, but it's not gonna happen. And so that's what it is. So a lot of the Knicks matchups in that game is really difficult. We're still relatively small across our backcourt. I'm still waiting for that Bridges action to kind of happen the way he's that 3D shutdown guy. I worry about OG a lot. OG, he gives you 2 or 3 great games and then he's hurt. So we got to worry about that balance. But the Cat experience is really going to make. Not Cat. Mitchell Robinson experience is going to make the difference, in my opinion. We just holding our breath. And in that top category, I really had to put the Pacers in there because the Pacers have been quietly kind of regrouping and finding that formula because they did beat the Knicks last year. And they're finding that formula again to be consistent. And I had to put them in that conversation as part of the clear-cut favorites. They're the 4th team of the top 4 that I'm going with in the East. And yes, OG got to stay healthy for the Knicks to have a chance.
All right. I can't make any change from that. Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Pacers. Like you can't run away from that. And I mean, who knew that the Cavs was going to be sitting on top of the doggone conference to begin with? Who was to think that they were going to sit here and go toe to toe with Boston and with the champs and everything?
Right.
So that was surprising too. So just seeing what's happening in there, or seeing what's happening for the Cavs, like that's pretty damn impressive. I gotta say.
It is.
I'm actually enjoying the Cat experience in New York because we talked about this over the summer with the playoffs and everything, and I'm glad that he was able to get a second chance somewhere else and be able to ball. Just that combination of him and Gobert out there in Minnesota.
It's funky.
Yeah, it just wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? I really think that the Grizzlies is probably regretting that trade, but that's just me. But like I just like the play right now. It didn't like you can never take it. You can never. I can't take away nothing from the Celtics just because of they're the champs. So that goes back in the same category that I said before. To beat the man, you got to beat the man. So
without question.
But there are teams that are out there that are giving them a run for their money right now. So they're playing good. They're playing good, smart ball. Whether it's at home or away. I think their biggest challenge has been when they migrated east, as far as like Boston and everything. But yeah, like those are my top four. And it was close between the Pacers and Milwaukee, just for the fact that it seems as if Giannis is hurt now too. So that's going to be pretty huge for the Bucks. It's like, what do we do now? But I was enjoying to see the gel that him and Dame actually start creating out there, sharing the ball. Getting, you can't take away from, Dame Dollar making them threes, coming in clutch. So
it's true.
But he's going to need Giannis in order to carry the team and make a good deep run into the playoffs.
So I was like you. I was stuck on not necessarily Milwaukee. I think what threw it for me, and don't worry about Philly this year, Cliff. You can pack them up, B. Pack them up, man, and throw them out.
Philly bottom feeders. We're not discussing them right now.
We're not getting to that, but I agree. So when I was looking at it, it wasn't so much Milwaukee. We had talked about Detroit a couple of weeks ago. Detroit was still on my radar, but they kind of hit that sophomore slump or whatever it is in the middle. So they kind of dropped back. And the reason why I didn't really go with Milwaukee, the one thing that really kind of turned me from Milwaukee was the trade. And a trade had to happen. But to me, Chris Middleton was the glue for that team. And they just traded him for Kyle Kuzma. And I'm shaking my head about this one coming coming from the Wizards. Now, Kuzma is younger. He's a little more athletic, but he's not consistent. He's never really been a consistent guy. So
that's why LA gave him the boot.
Right. You understand? So I'm a little concerned how that's going to play out in Milwaukee. And as Milwaukee was starting to hit their stride, to bring in this new piece, and like you say, Giannis got hurt, kind of puts them in the second tier, if you will. I got the Bucks and the Pistons. I'm waiting for the Magic to kind of reignite. Banchero is back from injury. They have some, Hunter and some of the other young players that are there. I'm kind of looking for them because they started off the season hot. But then when Paulo got hurt, not to say they've been middling, but they're still in that 5-6 range. So I'm interested to see what the Hawks can do in the second half of the season. And I think just by default, I had to put Atlanta. I had to put the Hawks, even though they had some trades and some moves. I'm not an Ice fan. I think trades over. I mean, look, I'm not gonna call him over. The boy can shoot, but outside of that, he doesn't bring much to the game. So I just had to kind of default because when I look at the teams behind him, Miami, they traded away their best player. And I think the Bulls were behind them. They got rid of a couple of their guys. So by default right now, I kind of had to put Atlanta in that second tier.
It does get kind of crazy when you get to this point because it's like you could shuffle the deck. Well, once again, we're not talking about the bottom feeders, but like I think everything is aligned the way that it needs to be. How is life going to be with Banchero back? I think it's the Tyler Hero show.
Yeah, basically now.
Out there in Miami.
So like Duncan Robinson.
Well, Yeah, that too. But it's like it's like what do we do now? It's like what do we do now? There are inconsistencies with Detroit too, so it's kind of hard to kind of like gauge and see where they're at right now. Because like in the middle, this middle stretch of the road before the All-Star break, like they were really hitting on all cylinders, and it was like what is happening?
Had to talk about it.
Yeah, and then they start taking L's again. It's like, oh, okay, like
back to Detroit. Okay,
yeah, here we are again. So like it's for me, like that's going to shift from the Pistons, from the Bulls to the Pistons. I think that's going to sit there and shift a lot. So that's a tough one to sit there and call right there. So I can't put them in any particular order, but Pistons, Heat, Hawk, Magic. I think Magic will bump up. Magic could be looking at a 6 or a 5 seed.
Yep, if
the Bucks aren't too careful. Because like I said, Giannis being hurt, there's a lot to factor into that. So that's going to be a tough one right there.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's kind of like that middle of the pack when I think we'll still be talking about those teams. It's just like how are they going to be seeded or how are they going to play as far as standings and everything.
I agree. Because I mean that's really where I'm at for like, even though it's tier 3, but these last 7 teams, I think you can go ahead and shoot craps if you want to. Because when I look at the teams that are left, like you said, the Heat, the Tyler Hero show. I'm looking at the Bulls. I really don't know what the Bulls have left outside of ball. We already talked about, we already know out the box already. You can pack these teams up. You can pack up the 76ers, the Nets, the Raptors, and the Raptors might be the sneaky team depending on Ingram was probably the best guy traded. So how Ingram impacts the Raptors with the young guard. I'm forgetting his name right now. They got a young guard and another young guy up there. That might be the most impactful move. But we got the Hornets in the wood. Like you can pack all of these teams up. They out the box. It doesn't matter. And it's really, what do the Raptors do? How do the Heat stay above water? And do the Bulls have anything left in Chicago? Yeah. I mean, it's really, like you said, quickly. Quickly. Yeah, that's right. Quickly's up there. That's right. Forgot about that. So the Raptors probably from that group probably can make the biggest jump in a sense, coming from the bottom and getting into the play-in in the East. Just kind of looking at, because I think it's time for Philly. It's time to blow up the MB. Like, okay, let's no longer trust the process. We can stop the process. I think they really shot themselves in the foot. I don't want to say I'm not a big Paul George fan. I just never thought he was a fit for Philly. I never really believed that he could really bring, I guess, what they thought he was. And let's be honest, too, Paul George, too, is also in his mid-30s. He's not Paul George from 3-4 years ago, that early LA George. This is late LA George. And their pieces to me are just all match. Outside of Maxey, there's really no consistent in Philly anymore. So I think it's time for them to really think about blowing that team up. Like say, I'm not trusting the process no more. Pack him up, ship him out, get whatever you're going to get from him, because he can't seem to stay healthy anyway. So let's just pack him up. Same thing. Anybody who will give me a dime on a dollar for Paul George, take it. And just kind of restart and build around Maxey, who's really the lone legitimate star in Philly right now. You know?
He's the captain of that team.
That's it.
We talked about it before. The process has been debunked years ago. And it, like I said, this season just made it worse with his work rest management, whatever the hell he wanted to call it. Because even when he was on the court, he still wasn't balling or anything like that, and the team was still catching L's. So like, you really just wasting space and opportunity. Paul George hasn't been the same since forever. Like, I think that was a bad investment too.
It really was.
Philly didn't gain anything. They really got Ben Simmons 2.0. With that being said, because Paul George spends too much time on the bench, not enough in the games, and when he's in the game, he's barely a factor when he sits there and plays. So it's kind of a wrap for him. I do agree with you. Like, When you look, I don't even want to talk about the rest of the teams, because when you look at it, the Raptors are the only ones who can sit here and climb up and get into the play-in. I don't see any other team. Wizards is far from it. Hornets is far from it. I think the Raptors are going to continue to slide down. The Sixers are going to continue to slide down. So that gives the Raptors the opportunity to sit here and bump themselves up. And take over that 10 slot with the Bulls, because Zach LaVine is going out of Chicago too.
That's right, he gone. That's right. And their big man, I think they shipped the big man out of there too.
I think both of them are in Sacramento now.
Sacramento now, something like that. So they really nothing left in Chicago. So we'll pack them up, man, and it'll be interesting to see how things play out. And while I have you, everybody, want to let you know, man, we're gonna have. It's not really because of Black History Month, but it's really because of somebody, man, that's a friend of mine starts a problem. And
started some shit. That's what.
He did. And we're gonna be bringing this conversation, man, in a couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned, man. Can Black people be racist? And this is a conversation that I think, maybe sometimes we laugh or joke about, but we're gonna bring a serious conversation about it to the table. We're gonna have anybody welcome to join. I was talking with G-Ware earlier today, man. He's gonna come through and join the conversation. And sure, ain't nothing laughing, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it right here on Two Mics Up. We're gonna keep it a buck.
Hey, Anna, all your favorite uncles gonna get together and have this discussion.
So it's gonna be trouble. But we're gonna go ahead and bring that conversation to light. Because it's a must-have conversation, and I think what makes it even more special, though, it is family, it's friends, getting together, but it's men, and if there's any ladies out there that are listening, please, it just so happened, so happened to be during Black History Month. Oh Lord, who knew? It wasn't expected. It was just a conversation. Somebody just throwing shit out on the wall and you kind of stuck. So here we are. But look, it's been a great conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go, I do want to share one other thing, and I don't know why. I just happen to be traveling recently, and people irritate me sometimes. And I just look at, like, when you traveling, because saying you've traveled a lot, military and things of that nature, and good times, family, luggage, etiquette. When you out and you traveling to get your luggage from the, like, should there be etiquette? Is there etiquette? Or is this all solo dolo and you got to get it on your own?
Oh man, I feel like that's a trick question. Should there be etiquette? Yeah. Is there etiquette? I really base that it's on the location that you're at. Because some airports you could go to, like O'Hare or doggone Dulles or LAX, and it's really survival of the fittest. So I have learned to pack smarter and lighter, so I can prevent myself. I can prevent myself from the carousel. So if I can't put it in my little cinch bag or something like that, that I could pop it in that overhead compartment, and it's not worth me taking. So, but you get down there and you got some savages that be
bruh. And that's why I bring it up, man, because it was an older woman. I'm not gonna get, like, it doesn't matter what color. It was an older woman. Yeah. And Bowl Garden, like, first of all, I'm trying to figure out, why are you standing right in front of the projectile, right? Because if the thing come out hot and it catch a bounce, it's probably going to knock you. It's probably going to knock you over and out, right? So
you ain't gonna be ready for it,
right? Right. So I'm trying to figure out, one, why are you like in the hot zone? Second of all, though, I'm not trying to get where she is. I'm trying to move further down. So as I'm moving, though, like, it's like she wants to step in front of me, and I'm like, okay, like, what? I'm not dancing with you. So I go to take another step. She takes another step, and like, I'm looking, I'm like, ma'am, is everything okay? And she's looking at me like I'm the problem, and I'm trying to go around you. I don't, and she literally, like, and mind you, at the time, it was like only her and I, like, everybody else hadn't got off the plane. So I'm like, are you going to do this with everybody that comes down to walk past you? And it just blew my mind. I was like, you don't even know if yours is coming out first. You could be standing here. Yours could be the last one coming out.
She was giving you that church lady two-step, like,
brother. And like, in your mind, you're like, this woman could be my mother or my aunt, like literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, nah, the devil in me was like, go ahead, dang bumper. You know what I'm saying? The devil in me. Right. And I was like, why are we doing this at the carousel? So I just wanted to throw it at you.
No, I mean, like I've learned to be patient, and I don't even go with the crowd or like during where it slides down at. So like it's not. It's I don't want to say it's not that big of a deal, especially like if you're traveling in packs. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone's trying to get their gear, and sometimes it's always that last piece of luggage that you sit in there waiting on. But like I said, like should there be etiquette? There should be, but is there? No. Hey, look, sometimes you have to go in there with your mouth guard and you know what I'm saying, be ready to throw a couple of bows here and there.
I was ready to rumble. I was ready. I was like, man, I'm about to take an old lady out. You know, about like
to do it. You one step away from a chokehold.
Listen here, I'm going for the knees and everything. I'm taking it out. You know, but it's crazy, man. But look, it's been another great conversation, another great episode. 2 Mics Up Tuesday Blitz. As we sat here tonight, unpacked halftime. You know, Kendrick Lamar. We talked a little superheroes and handling your luggage on the way out. Yeah. Like I said, stay tuned, man. We'll be back again next week. We'll keep it funky. Stay tuned, like I said, about the conversation that's coming. Tell your friends, white, black, blue, green, whatever. Can black people be racist? It's gonna be bananas. It's gonna be off the chain, but we're gonna have some fun with it. Before we go, Sam, yes. I want to go ahead and give you your moment. Anybody want to catch up with you, man? During your downtime, your off time, where can they find you?
Like I said, IG Osarge Gaming. I'm a gamer at heart, so all my platforms, whether it's Steam, Battle.net, EA, all of it's Osarge Gaming as well too. So hit me up. I done got back into Destiny. I'm still giving people L's when it comes to NCAA football. I done got into rank play with Call of Duty right now, and I'm actually with a veteran ran league right now. So I'm out there hurting feelings. I don't care what branch you in. Like, hey, it's all fun and games though. So like I said, just follow me on Osarge Gaming. Facebook, just Sam Adams. I should put the All-American there, but we ain't gonna do all of that. Okay. But you can follow me on Facebook too, with Sam Adams, and just holler at me. Got any questions, concerns? Always looking for a new friend. Let's kick it.
All right, there you go. It's my brother Sam Adams, y'all. Check him out. He's here with me every Tuesday night, and I am your man, your host, Damon Cunningham. You can catch 2 Mics Up across all social media, Facebook, IG, X, here on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and give us a follow. You can follow us online, www.2micsup.com. This is an award-winning talk show, y'all. We rocking 4 times. We bring it with real talk each and every week. Have some of the best and dopest, not only celebrity guests, but guests in general. Season 8's about to kick off, man. We have a preview, if you will. Wednesday, February 26th. We're going to be kicking it off with my sister, Katisha Ship. We're going to jump into all new celebrity talk starting in March. We're going to be kicking it with the Tuesday Blitz. We're going to have Wednesday Night Live. Man, I just got a lot going on. Thank the Lord. Check me out also on my all new streaming channel, Infusion TV, on the #1 network for positive programming, the Mogul TV Global Network. Go out there and download the Mogul TV Global app for free, because everything don't stay for free. You can get that on your Roku TV or your Amazon TV Fire device. Download it today so you can watch all the latest and greatest coming from us here at 2 Mics Up to you at home on your Mogul TV Global Network app. I thank you all, and like we do at the end of each and every show, ladies and gentlemen, may you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out.